What's up, guys? Here with you with FC Wonderkid, episode 85.5, okay? Because we're in the middle of the week. How are you doing, Bretson?
It was a very Merry Christmas here. My kids got me sick. I opened a lot of presents for them because after like 5 presents, the kids get tired and they don't want to open up any more presents. And then we were treated to some amazing return of Premier League football Boxing Day fixtures. So I am jazzed up. I'm not quite over the fact that the World Cup is done, but I am excited for the road ahead of seeing what happens in the Premier League, 1 and 2, the transfer market, sir. Are you ready?
The transfer market. You said it. And before we get to it, comment down below transfers that you know will happen, okay? Because I will be expressing a lot of transfers I think will happen in this month of January. And let's start with the winner, okay? That consolidate all the doubts. Nobody can say that Arsenal isn't going bold this season because they keep going. Wenger watching in the stands, first time since 2018, and Arteta ball happened. And I want to give a big shout out. The player that impressed me the most, he wasn't the best, but he impressed me the most, and he was Eddie Nketiah, okay, it's striker.
Oh, that turn.
And he just worked. He worked to be that striker, and he has 11 starts, 11 goals. So whenever he's bet on right at the start of a game, he shows himself. And I want to say that I still believe Arsenal have to get a striker, though, okay? I want to say that they need competition if Gabriel Jesus isn't there. But Eddie Nketiah to start, I'm not going to complain because he played very, very well against West Ham. So that's my first highlight.
Well, I mean, if it's pretty simply put, if Eddie Nketiah scores goals like that, and he keeps scoring goals like that, it's going to be pretty hard to get Gabby Jesus back on the field.
No, right? He'll start. Gabriel starts all time.
I know he will, but that was just a beautiful, beautiful turn in the box, and that was very. I don't want to maybe overplay it, but it was very Henry-esque, where you feint one way and you turn the other way with the ball. Just completely faked out the defender and then placed it perfectly past the West Ham goalkeeper, who I'm for some reason forgetting who it is right now. But my goodness, I mean, that was a top of the Prem performance from Arsenal as a whole. And you mentioned, Arsene Wenger. How ridiculous is it that was the first time Bukayo Saka met Arsene Wenger? And Bukayo Saka was the architect of that comeback on the day. He was. And Bukayo Saka is turning into one of the most, if not the most important player for Arsenal as it stands. And come on, he's coming off a World Cup where he scored 3 goals for England. And now he's like literally transforming into one of the best players in the Premier League in front of our eyes.
I completely agree.
It's wonderful.
And Arteta, I think the Arteta revolution, he cleared a lot of players on that team. There's no more Aubameyang. There's no more these veterans that they had the locker room in their hands. And you have the new age that has Saka, in my opinion, the best player. You have Martinelli. You have Eddie Nketiah that listens to the manager. And at the back, the most important extension of Arsenal that, in my opinion, will match them with Man City and with, wait, I won't say Real Madrid, but Man City and Liverpool. I'll say Saliba. They need to extend Saliba. Because if Arsenal doesn't extend, I'm sure a team like Real Madrid or even Barcelona, they will get him at center back, okay? They need top world-class center backs. And him at Arsenal, with Arteta, he's one of the best center backs in the world right now. And I was like, Upamecano, shout out to that song, okay? Please release it. One of the best songs of the World Cup. And it's always the French bangers, too. But, like, I was shocked that Upamecano was starting above Saliba, and that happened. But
and it showed in this game. It showed. I mean, William Saliba. I agree. He's a massive, massive part of any Arsenal future. But this was not a great return to action for him. It was not his best game. It was not. But and you know what showed. You know what showed the lack of playing time for a whole month. It showed.
True.
And that's okay. because Arsenal still won in spite of it, and that's if you're going to win the Premier League, that's exactly what needs to happen.
I didn't
West
think he
Ham went
played
up
bad.
early.
I didn't
Yeah,
think he
no,
played
well,
bad.
I mean, I think he made more mistakes than he would have. Saliba made more mistakes in this match than he would have, obviously, pre-World Cup, when he was really match fit, really ready to go.
Okay.
Saliba only got, what, like not even a half of action for France in the World Cup. So
true, it's
yeah.
true, and he didn't have a lot of playing time. And the thing with Arsenal too,
No.
the other shout out I'll do with and shows Arteta knows his team very well is Ben White, man, at right back. It's absolutely great to have a player that at all moments it goes to a 3 center back system offensively, and when they're at the back, they're so consolidated with another center back at right back like Ben White. He's fast. He does your job passing wise. And Ben White with Saka, that right inside is actually OP. And they have on the bench Tomayasu. So that just shows the Arteta rebuild in action once again. And I'll repeat, the Saliba extension, the Martinelli extension, it's close as Fabrizio says, and the Saka extension. Those will determine the future of a legacy at Arsenal, okay? But they need to win this Prem this year, too. That has to be said, too. But we see news about Mykhailo Mudryk moving to Arsenal. He was watching the game. He said it on his stories. He put a picture watching the game. And Mudryk for 40 million plus 20 in add-ons. Like, Arsenal are paying his value, okay, right now. A lot of potential. He is a baller, I gotta say, and it's the right deal to do, in my opinion. So I think it's the right. I think it's a good deal to do, yes.
Yeah, because I
wanted Rafinha
feel
in the past. I prefer Mudryk right now. More potential. Come on.
Well, yeah. I mean, I would argue too. Yes, there's more potential, but there's more room for error as well. I mean, I have not necessarily seen the consistency from Mudryk, mainly because there's a lack of football when it comes down to it. There's no doubt that there's a special talent there, but you've got to be able to be willing to give him that. And it's just like with Martinelli, with Saka on the wings, where's he going to get this like, work through it type of situation?
Saka, there's moments that they can adapt Saka towards being in the other wing. I don't know, but I could see Mudryk being involved.
Up to 60 million. I don't know. My confidence gets a little shaken in the deal when we're talking about that value. But then again, I'm a tightwad when it comes to this stuff. Mudryk coming from Shakhtar. I don't know. It doesn't have the same ring. But then again, Martinelli was what, 9 million from
6 million.
6 million from
I get where you're coming from.
I'm just listening. I'm just thinking like you could probably find quality for less. If
Mudryk is vital towards winning this title, is he worth the 60 million?
Well, obviously.
So
but if he's not,
I'm confident this kid has got it. He's got the heart.
To be honest,
Mudryk, Zinchenko there, Arteta, like such a big voice with the youth, and Mudryk sees like Saliba, Saka, Martinelli, all these young guns just focused. Well, I think he'll do the same. Well,
the key here for Mudryk is going to be Zinchenko. Clearly, right?
I agree.
I mean, bringing a Ukrainian compatriot in, and by the way, Zinchenko once again showing his class. In terms of being used as kind of a Swiss Army knife for Arsenal. It's just awesome to see. But yeah, I think the key here obviously is going to be Mudryk, Zinchenko. Come on, working that left side would be pretty awesome to see when all is said and done. Although Kieran Tierney was very, very good on the day.
I think Tierney starts
for Arsenal as well. I think he does too. I think Zinchenko coming in and filling in the midfield role, filling in wherever he needs to fill is going to be awesome. But listen, there was an inclusion on the Arsenal roster that really intrigued me. And it almost feels like they're preparing for maybe if like a Mudryk deal doesn't go through, they have promoted essentially to the bench 17-year-old winger Amario Cozier-Duberry, who has been lights out for them in the academy. Okay. And he's 17. He's a winger. He can also play, I believe, play cam. And if you look at his highlights, he has really been, one of the big standouts, which is saying something in an Arsenal academy that is, ripe with a whole lot of standouts, that he actually was promoted to the bench for the first time in the Premier League, and he plays in that position as well. So I don't think they're going to give him necessarily a shot, but they might be preparing in a small manner for if that Mudryk deal falls through. Maybe you see a debut for him in the second half of the season.
And
I don't know.
And look at this, like thinking about like how the defense too's changed. Like the Arsenal defense now with Ramsdale, Tierney, Saliba, Gabriel, Ben White, and on the bench you got options for Zinchenko at left back, Tomayasu at right back. Like again, it's really changed times. And Thomas Partey, if this man can't get injured. Okay, if they're going to win the Premier League. And Arteta knows it. They need to get another player to be at least competing for that position. With Tielemans, that's my shout for them to get because it can be on the cheap. But a lot of Arsenal. Tell us down below, who do you think is still going to Arsenal? And is the Mudryk deal happening? Like, we got to know. Like,
and I got to ask you, before we move on from the Gunners,
yes.
Do you think at all that like Dusan Vlahovic is rethinking his deal with Juve?
If Dusan Vlahovic was at Arsenal right now, I'd say they'd win the Premier League. I'd say they'd win the Premier League right now. That's the confidence I have of how much he'd bring to this Arsenal team. And everyone disrespecting Vlahovic, if you see like the percentage of goals he has at Juve, I know Juve ain't playing well, but he's impactful. So, and in the World Cup, man, he wasn't the best too. So, Serbia wasn't the best too. But I think Mitrovic, he keeps on going bold in the Premier Fulham.
But I mean,
unbelievable. Mark Silva.
Do you think there's any reality where Vlahovic pushes for a move this coming transfer window?
I think this January is very hard. It's very hard for a striker now for Arsenal to get. I believe that should be their priority. And I think Arsenal is highly interested in João Felix, which they should be. Ooh. And Arsenal and Chelsea have to aim for a loan move first for João Felix. 8 to 10 million loan. I know it's 6 months, but it's worth seeing if you're going to pay 100 million in the summer to get him. So I think that would be the best deal. And I believe in João Felix, not because he's Portuguese, because he's got one of the best first touches in football in this day and age. And in the World Cup, man, how different did he play with Fernando Santos and with Simeone? Well, and it was with Fernando Santos. It's not even Pep Guardiola. Imagine him with Pep Guardiola, João Felix.
I know. So, it comes down to the system. And I think he would fit in perfectly with Arteta ball. And I agree with you that if you are going to push for a striker right now, he's the most economically efficient for the second half of the season. If it's a loan with a potential loan to buy at the end, absolutely. I look at that and I just remember, we were really, really high on Dusan Vlahovic potentially coming to Spurs or to Arsenal or definitely to the Premier League. And man, I think he with a couple quotes, maybe roughly translated quotes, he poured cold water on, going to Arsenal, basically talking as if they weren't, a team to be reckoned with. Now, granted, they weren't yet top of the Premier League table.
Exactly.
They were still in the midst of their rebuild, and the Arteta way was still getting questioned. But it is really interesting to think about that. I wonder if he goes to bed at night and has a few nightmares.
I'd say that. I'd say that. Arteta as a manager, I think the world's view this season, it went from Arteta, he's got potential as a manager too. Okay, Arteta's really a revolutionary coach, and Edu and him, they're doing something now at Arsenal. And we got to respect that.
And I just, but before we move on, one of the more heartwarming things is watching Bukayo Saka meet his idols of sorts, right? His inspirations. Bukayo Saka during, the preparations for the World Cup for England met David Beckham. And you could see him like kind of looking like a kid in front of Santa. Waiting to see Santa for the first time, just so in awe of David Beckham when he was the one that was going to be taking the pitch in the World Cup in the coming days. And then he does the exact same thing after this game with Arsene Wenger, meeting Arsene Wenger for the first time. And you just look at this kid and I'm like, I can't think of a better person than Bukayo Saka to be the face of Arsenal as they are on the uptick. I honestly can't. And I will say it again and again and again. He just seems like not only a wonderful player, but a wonderful human being.
Most vital.
So it's
gotta get that
yeah,
extension, man. If not,
yeah,
he goes to City. And then
yeah.
Arsenal fans are all like, why does he go to City? Why? Like, but I think
like,
it's the season. They gotta win this
I don't.
season.
Yeah, and I don't want to jinx anything, but Saka does seem like one of those guys that could wind up being like a Paul Scholes for Man United, right? Where he plays for one club, right? He's a one club guy. He wants to do everything he can to stay at Arsenal and make Arsenal kind of a domestic powerhouse.
I
And
think that can be the case.
could be interesting. Yeah, but they got to pay the lad. Pay the
Exactly.
lad.
The top player,
Get it done.
he's gotta get that done. So people,
Yeah.
tell us down below what you think Arsenal will happen in the future and the signings. We want to know the signings in the comment section down below.
Yes.
But going out with Arsenal, we got a team that made moves and has confirmed them already. Liverpool, 3-1 win against Aston Villa. I know Darwin had a ton of misses, but the physical capabilities he has, the endurance, Darwin plays for the team, and he showed it that game, okay? I know it was one of the best games. Darwin Núñez against Aston Villa. Most missed chances, most missed everything, okay? Got to improve that first touch and confidence on goal. But in terms of work rates, one of the best matches in the Prem we've seen. So, but as strikers to score goals.
Yeah, this is not Milan Baros, number 2 for Liverpool. Okay, Darwin Núñez gets himself in situations that if he even improves his finishing marginally, this guy could score 20 plus goals in the Premier League season, and probably will. He will. He's so fast for a bigger guy. He really is. He's so fast, and there were multiple times that there was just no way that anyone was getting to him, and his worst enemy, I guess you could say, is himself.
It's his first touch, Darwin.
Yeah.
Come on, that first touch. Like, he always leaves a ton of space after he touches the ball, man. And you almost, if Darwin Núñez had João Felix's first touch, he'd be the best player in the world, man. But Darwin Núñez, I still believe he will score more than 25 goals in the Prem one season. Okay, I believe in Luis Suarez when he said he's going to be one of the best strikers in the world. And like 75 million Liverpool paid for Darwin Núñez. So I think with time, the 100 million will be compensated totally. But I want to say, though, Liverpool went bold, okay? And every Man United fan is now crying because Cody Gakpo, which would have been perfect for Man United with Erik ten Hag leading the way, Dutchman, he's chosen Klopp and Liverpool with Virgil van Dijk at the back. Captain Virgil van Dijk that must have had a hand and said in the World Cup between Real Madrid and Man United, I think it's an easy choice, referring to Gakpo. So between Liverpool and Man United, I think it was an easy choice too, with Virgil van Dijk helping Cody Gakpo making that decision. And
let's just say Gakpo didn't call Genie Wijnaldum. That's for sure. But yeah, I'm sorry. What were you gonna say?
Like Liverpool, in terms of winter transfers, last season they got Luis Diaz. Look at the impact he had. £45 million. Cody Gakpo is gonna be kind of the same, and he will have a huge impact for Liverpool this season. I can say this is a signing that will make them a top 4 team immediately. Okay, Gakpo, Darwin Salah, Firmino on the bench, like so many options on the bench. Even that Doe kid at 17 looked as a great option too after on the bench. So Liverpool, there's a different vibe, and get Jude Bellingham. If Liverpool get Jude Bellingham after Gakpo, after Luis Diaz, after Darwin, that long term will be seen as smart deals, just like Robertson was. Okay, the player with most assists ever, defender in the Premier League. They will have a dynasty too once again, competing with Man City. So I wanted to.
Okay. There's a lot to unpack here in what you said, and I agree. It's a great signing for Liverpool, but we have to also talk about how it's actually a very necessary signing for Liverpool right now because of the injuries to Luis Diaz, to Diogo Jota, to Roberto Firmino. You obviously lost, Sadio Mane. In the offseason, and you could see early on for Liverpool, how tough of a loss that was. But Cody Gakpo is going to play. He's going to have to play a big role if they're going to continue their momentum. This was the first time this season that they've won three matches in a row.
Liverpool.
All right.
Sheesh.
Liverpool. And beyond that, they are right in the thick of it. I mean, they're only 5 points behind fourth place Spurs with a game in hand. So they've got momentum now on their side. Very clearly, Mo Salah is well rested and ready to go with a goal and an assist in this game. It just kind of comes down to Klopp clearly had to give a whole lot of trust in his academy depth because as of right now, he's got a mini injury crisis that is affecting them. And that's why you see Stefan Bajcetic, and I don't know if that's the right way to say his name, but 18-year-old Bajcetic scoring a wonderful, first off, that first touch was just so beautiful, and I hope to see more of it. But at 18 years old, scoring a goal, he was on for less than 2 minutes, and he scores a big goal against Aston Villa. And then obviously seeing the quality of Ben Doak, who has been scoring goals left and right for them with his little nutmeg. And his ability to give a little bit of depth there for Liverpool. So Liverpool is one that like you really want to watch in the second half of the season because I don't think they are going to go for Jude Bellingham if they're pursuing a sale, one, and two, if they don't get Champions League football.
Yeah, I agree. Champions League football is mandatory for Jude Bellingham. I agree. And I love that shout out of the youth because Klopp has to bet on these assets of the Academy of Liverpool. That's improving, just like Man City's, as we see. And Ben Doak became the youngest Scottish player to play in the Premier League. And Stefan Bajcetic became the second youngest Spaniard to score, I think, in the Premier League. And the first is Fabregas at Arsenal. That was really good ties, man. Beautiful ties, too. So that's a really good indication to what's to come for Stefan.
Well, as far as Ben Doak goes, we have to give a little shout out to Celtic for doing a lot of the hard work.
True.
Okay, because Ben Doak actually did play, I believe, for Celtic once or twice. Before then making the pop on over to Liverpool and pursuing those interests. But
so you've got Calvin Ramsey. You got Calvin Ramsey now for the right back competition for Trent, and you got now Ben Doak too, Scotland. Robertson. The impact is real of Andy Robertson, man. Because at Liverpool, the Scottish men are getting the investment, man. And once again, I say it. Like, it's mad that such a bargain, signing for Liverpool with Klopp became the player the defender with most assists in the Premier League with more than 50. Like Robertson, it's just like, and Trent too at the right, like just shows like fullbacks with Klopp, they do assists.
but I do have a question, right? So Gakpo signing for Liverpool. What does this say about Manchester United?
It says that Manchester United, they can't get the deals they want, but they can get deals that they can because of their name and their money too. Yeah. So it shows that Malacia deal, very smart. A Dalot extension, very smart. So it's natural that they have to overspend, like with Lisandro Martinez. Anthony too. But
Sancho?
I think in the case of Martinez, it was a good overbuy. So, but yes, those two you're referring to. Sancho's got the talent, man. It's all about the work rate. It's all about how bad does he want it. And
but that's the thing here. He's not even training with a team.
Why? Is it because of attitude? Is it something that happened with Ten Hag? I feel like
exactly. I don't know, but like it obviously from a surface level, it doesn't look good. It really doesn't look good. It's got to be attitude when it comes down to it, or it's got to be some sort of a misstep between a misstep. I mean, they do have Garnacho, but they have Garnacho because Sancho and Antony are not necessarily impressing to the point of, hey, this is $180 million worth of talent. We've got what we need, and that could also be why Cody Gakpo might have had a little bit of a pullback from Manchester United when all was said and done, or maybe it was Manchester United pulling back. Who knows?
But
I don't
if
know.
you have Liverpool knocking, I think he was considering Erik ten Hag, but then when you have Liverpool, it's just so clear the difference. But I love how you said the
It's
winger
tough.
situation, because I
Yeah.
still don't get the feeling that any of the wingers at Man United is locked up.
No.
Elanga definitely not. Sancho no. Garnacho no. Like Rashford, I think is the one that has the most backing right now to play.
Yeah,
and
but the
after
funny
World
thing
Cup
is
too.
right, but the funny thing is 5 months ago, people wanted to write Rashford off. He was done. He was dusted. He was never going to be good again. And it's amazing what a World Cup does. And now they're like, hey, we got Rashford and we got Garnacho. We don't need Sancho. We don't even need Anthony to start to eat in the Premier League,
But
right?
Rashford at Man United was always,
which is not true.
like, I think people, it's like they don't trust Man United to do the best for Rashford. And they see the potential on Rashford, and they think if Rashford played at PSG, like there's a lot of talk about that, he'll be much better player in the showing. Much better player. And that has a consequence if he starts for England. If he starts, because if he is having those mega performances, Southgate has to start him. So
but listen, like,
it's Man United, man.
if Rashford was getting mistreated by Manchester United, he wouldn't have signed an extension.
Mm-hmm. True.
So
true.
I know United hasn't yet played in these festive fixtures,
he didn't sign the extension. It's just a 1 year. It's just a 1 year mandatory extension.
It's an option.
If Man United wants, just like Dalot. So it wasn't his choice. The next one is his choice. Now that's why I was like thinking, what happened? No, it's a one option. Yeah. Just like Dalot.
And
De Gea, they didn't opt for De Gea.
I'm gonna say it right now. Garnacho is not going to light us up this second half of the season. Garnacho is an insanely impressive potential talent, but this second half of the season is not the time where Garnacho is going to, chip in 5 to 10 Premier League goals and send United up and solve their winger problem for many years to come. I just don't see it. It's too soon.
I think Garnacho can consolidate him as a starter, though, and this second half of the season. And especially if Enzo Fernandez goes to Man United, because the rumor is 127 million is going to Benfica, okay? With bonuses, because the release clause is 120. So they're going to have to do bonuses, variables to get 127 and compensate. So right up front, it must be 80 to 90. So that shows the investment that they're doing in an Argentinian. That's why I'm mentioning this. So Man United with Garnacho, Enzo Fernandez in midfield, Lisandro Martinez at center back. I could see a big investment in Garnacho because Martinez will put the pressure on the kid. He will put the pressure on the kid. And just like he did with Yugdalo. So I'm going to bet on this kid. I believe it. And he's got the quality in him. And Europa League, but Barca has to be ready. Barca has to be ready, hopefully.
I think United has to be ready for Todd Bowley waking up one morning, seeing Enzo Fernandez in the headlines and going, I want that. I want him. I want him.
I like that. I like how you say that. Because, yes, Enzo Fernandez, the best youngster in this World Cup. And we got to say, one of the best youngsters, not just youngsters, midfielders in the Champions League this season, okay? And Benfica hasn't lost one game in the Champions League. So it's because of players like Antonio Silva and Enzo Fernandez. So I wanted to give a shout because Man United he's going to the Prem. If it's 120, he's going to the Prem. And Jorge Mendes reportedly offered that to Rui Costa. So tell us down below. Do you agree with us for this Man United situation? We managed to mention Man United a ton with Liverpool too. That the Gakpo deal, it's related.
But before we move on from it, I mean, I think that there's also a kind of a repair of maybe a relationship, right? Jorge Mendes and Cristiano Ronaldo, right? I mean, what's going on with Cristiano Ronaldo right now? That's completely separate. We'll talk about that in a little bit, unless you want to talk about it
Yeah, we
right
can do
now,
it
because
now.
I'd
We can
like
do it
some
now.
light shed on it.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. But I do think, there's going to be another deal done again, because there needs to be a repair of that agent club
Mm-hmm.
type of relationship that has been so soured since that Ronaldo thing kind of blew up in everybody's face.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, so what's the deal? Because I know in America, it's all about it's
Al-Nassr.
literally just about the signature being done, right? That's what they're saying here. They're
No,
saying that
that's
it's imminent.
that's
It's
cap.
imminent that he's going to Al-Nassr,
Cap.
right?
Cap that right
Okay.
now, okay, I don't know what's the 27th of December. Nothing is signed with Al-Nassr. Ronaldo hasn't decided anything with Al-Nassr. The only thing is that the offer's on the table of 200 million per season. And I just know of 3 seasons that have been guaranteed offers. So it's 600 million to Cristiano Ronaldo. But on the 27th of December, no decision is made. And I can tell you right now that Ronaldo wants Champions League still. Because Messi still wants Champions League. And he's reportedly going to stay at PSG, but he will definitely stay in Europe. So Ronaldo, I know he's 37, and I know he's got this in mind. So I think no decision is still made. Okay, I want to really say that to the public, and like, don't be fooled. Don't be fooled, because everybody wants him to go to Al-Nassr, and the pressure of the world is in him signing that signature that he hasn't signed. Everybody's think he's done it already, and that's the media pressurizing Ronaldo right there, man. FIFA, everybody puts pressure on this man. Take your time, make that decision. Jesus.
If we prepare ourselves for the potential inevitability that he does go, I have to ask you. Does it affect his legacy at all?
Yes, it does.
If he goes there.
It does affect his legacy. In my opinion, it does. And that's why I really don't. It's not. I know he hasn't made it still. So, and he knows it himself. Like, in terms of marketing, man, he's got multiple brand deals that are not football related, like directly football related. Ronaldo, and if he goes to Saudi Arabia, that's in jeopardy. A ton of brand deals. That has to be said. And Ronaldo being the most followed person in the world, everybody has an opinion, and everybody seems to know where he's going to go next. So when he went to Man United, that was like 48 hours, that deal. Don't be fooled if in 48 hours you'll have a new club and he signed the deal. I think that can happen.
It just feels, and sorry, I'm losing my voice, but it just feels so tone deaf too. Like the only video that's been circulating, at least on Twitter, that I've seen as of late, has been Georgina buying with their own money him a Bentley or a Bugatti or
Rolls
some
Royce,
millionaire Rolls Royce. That's what it was. Sorry, I don't know my cars. Apologies. But I just feel like the branding is just so off these days. I feel like someone's taking a hiatus on making sure that Cristiano Ronaldo speaks to the majority of the footballing world, or maybe he's just done giving a crap.
I think he does give a crap on his legacy, and I think there's a lot of political reasons too. I don't want to get into that, but Ronaldo has a political view that isn't the best. Like, I don't want to say it, but
listen, if it was just negotiations, right? Why would he go himself to Saudi Arabia if it was just preliminary negotiations?
No, I think he didn't go for that. If he went, I think he didn't go. Did he go? I think it was the the right-hand man of George Minch, I think, went to see the proposal.
Tell us in the comments, because I thought I saw. No. Yeah, I might have been. Looking at the wrong video or something. But who knows? But
you went to Dubai.
But we did put on the record. Okay, we did put on the record though that if Ronaldo does go to Al-Nassr, you do feel his legacy is it changed a little bit.
It definitely him going out of Europe, not in the best style. Like, people are gonna be always thinking about that. And Man United isn't the best ending. It was a poor. It has to be said again. Right now, Man United. Okay, right now, Man City is Man United 10 years ago with Alex Ferguson, the best manager in the world, with Pep Guardiola, the best facilities, the best players. Everybody wants to go to Man City. And Man United, no. They even missed with Cody Gakpo. So Ronaldo's just pointing fingers and saying, this institution is not the same, and they don't have the profession. They're not as professional as they were at that time. And I agree. I agree.
Basically, his way of saying I should have gone to City.
I should have stayed at Real Madrid too. A long time at the back. But I should have gone to Man City too. And that one season, 100%, if he scored more than 20 goals at Man United with that team, he would score with that Man City team more than 30 Premier League goals. I'll say just that. And at 36 at the time, not 37.
Oh, yeah.
So
all right. Well, yeah.
see.
Well, I think, I mentioned Todd Bowley before. We should probably pop
yes.
on over to Chelsea because if there's anybody that has been, aside from that Gakpo steal from Liverpool, if there's anybody that has been incredibly excited for the transfer window, it has been Todd Bowley and the superhero team of crazy backroom office types that is going to shape this team for years and years to come.
Mm-hmm.
And it's pretty clear that he is going to do it in favorite FC Wonderkid style. I mean, he's going after young players that are going to shape the future of Chelsea, and that is really intriguing to us. But who's on the radar right now?
So you have David Fofana, the deal's done.
Yeah.
You got André Santos, which for 20 million, great deal done. And Kunku confirmation, and it's almost done. Benoit Badiashile to Chelsea from Monaco for 40 million. And considering that they would overspend 100 for Gvardiol, in my opinion, Badiashile would be an amazing deal done. So I think Chelsea are making smart deals, thinking progressively. But it's not going to be immediate. I think Chelsea is a 2-year plan with Todd Boehly, and I understand it. And I think there's a lot of potential because the players that Chelsea are buying, Benoit Badiashile, André Santos, and as I mentioned, David Fofana, none of them, I think, will want to leave Chelsea. It's a project of staying long-term at the club. And Fofana's already expressed that it's his favorite club in the world too. And I really believe it's the psyche of these players that determines if they're right for Chelsea. And Kunku has more goal involvements. He's got close to the goal involvements of Haaland, Lewandowski, Mbappe, and Kunku's in the middle of that too. And he decided to go to Chelsea because he believes in the project. And he must be getting a big bucks contract too. But he decided that.
But there's a big reason why, right? Because Todd Bowley is not only signing players, right? He's empowering. He's empowering a new team of back office staff to get these players and to pull from their own experiences. So recently, they just brought in Christopher Vivell as the technical director overall, and he has history where Nkunku came from, right? RB Leipzig, RB Salzburg. He has brought in some of the best players. Soboslai. He's brought in Haaland. He's young. He's ready to go. Vivell is huge signing and a big reason probably why Nkunku got done. On top of that, they brought in Lawrence Stewart, who was at Monaco. That's why they went after Benoit Badiashile. They probably should have gone after Badiashile to begin with, instead of paying 80 million for a Fofana off of an ACL injury. And then they also just brought in Joe Shields as essentially co-director of academy recruitment. And Joe Shields is from Southampton and Manchester City before that.
True.
So there's just this bevy, this injection of youth and of different kind of a cohesive thought process. So he's building a team of legends and hoping that they prepare for a future that was as dominant as Chelsea after Abramovich spent all that money. So I'm really more interested in that back office because they all, most of those targets, you can tie back to every one of those new backroom staff that they've been bringing in. So it's really interesting what he's doing.
And you got that back office after, in the summer, Chelsea and Todd Boehly spent the most ever by a Premier League club in transfers. And it's only going to keep on going because this January, I don't think any other club's going to spend more than Chelsea, man. I just can see it.
So why wouldn't João Felix go there? on loan.
On loan, yeah, that'd be smart. That'd be smart. I think it'd be smart. But Havertz is there. Mason Mount. There's a lot of roles that.
Havertz up top.
Uh,
Felix, I guess, play on the. Would you put Felix on the wing?
you got Sterling already there too. Like,
Yeah.
you have Fofana coming. I think it wouldn't be bad. Okay, Ziyech is leaving. Okay, you have some players of the type of Felix.
Pulisic is leaving.
Big question. Is leaving?
I mean, it kind of has to leave.
Just
I
leave.
Think. Yeah, just go. And
to
if Newcastle's
Newcastle.
calling,
Exactly. Captain America.
Second place Newcastle. Second place Newcastle.
I think
for
they'll
the
get
first
top
time.
4. I think they'll get top 4. You reckon?
Well, the last time that they were top 2 mid-season was 2003 with Alan Shearer, with Jermaine Genius. With who's the other guy I'm thinking of? Norberto Solano. Okay, they ended up finishing 3rd that season in 2003. They're second right now. Obviously, Manchester City has some games in hand, but yeah, I think that they could finish 3rd. I mean, they've conceded 11 goals or 12 goals in 16 games. Like this team is built from the back up, and it's pretty impressive.
Oh my days, man! But we'll get to But keeping on Chelsea, man, Pulisic, just make that decision that we're saying. Okay, we're even saying stats, helping you out, Pulisic. But stay with that now, Joe Felix. I think the best club would be or Man City or Arsenal for João Felix, okay? The pupil of Guardiola, Arteta, would know exactly what to do. And with the Gabriel Jesus injury, just gives more emphasis on making that decision. But I'd say, the loan deal is always the smartest. And I saw the Telegraph talking about that. So it could happen. But again, Chelsea fans, like, chill out, okay? It's a rebuild. Things will come with time, but it won't be immediate. And you have a lot of steep competition with Liverpool, Man City, Newcastle, has to be said, and Arsenal, man. Okay, different. They're different now.
But one thing that you've got that Chelsea has that is a good and a bad thing, it's kind of a double-edged sword, is you have a hyperactive new owner that wants to make changes and wants to spend in order to ensure that Chelsea remains near the top of the footballing pyramid in Chelsea. I'm sorry, in England. Oh, yeah. So at least you have a step up amongst those that demonize Stan Kroenke, those that demonize the Glazers, those that Liverpool is looking for a sale. At least you've got a proactive owner that really wants to make sure that this status is secured for years to come.
Hope
that's
he invests in facilities too. Hope he invests. Todd Boehly, because Kroenke did. But the Glazers, they just gotta sell it. The facilities, no investment, turned back. They're just leaking it. So let's wait and see. Let's wait and see. But you mentioned Newcastle, and I gotta say, man, if we mention Newcastle, my first shout out has to be for Miguel Almiron, and I'm gonna call this the Grealish effect because he's got 9 goals and 1 assist in the Prem, and only Harry Kane, Tony. Tony and Haaland, of course, have scored more goals than Almiron in the Premier League. So I gotta say, thank you, Jack Grealish, for showing the potential of MLS players going from the MLS to the Premier League. Miguel Almiron, so great deal.
Listen,
man.
He has 9 goals, which you mentioned, but that is more goals, or the exact same amount of goals that he has had combined over the last 4 seasons. Okay. So it must be something, and if you must call it the Jack Grealish effect, I am 100% here for it. Copyright it. Let's put it on T-shirts with Miggy's smile all over the place, because Almiron is having himself a season. Preseason, people were writing him off as nothing but a guy off the bench, right? And now Almiron has become like he just I don't know. He's that Jack Russell Terrier that is always like nipping at your heels. Always, running for the ball, will run through walls for you, and it is pretty amazing to see. And he only needs like 8 or 9 more goals, I think, over the next season and a half. It's not going to happen this season. Maybe not. I don't know. But he will. I'm going to make this statement. Miguel Almiron, before he moves on from Newcastle, or if he moves on from Newcastle, which I'm not saying he is, but he will become the all-time leading Paraguayan goal scorer in Premier League history at some point, and we know who that is. That's Roca Santa Cruz. You remember
Oh,
him, right?
yes.
So he needs 8 goals, I believe, to take him over. And while I don't think it'll happen this time, I do think in the end,
I think he will.
he'll get it.
I think he'll
Yeah.
become that. And Santa
Yeah.
Cruz, what a legend too. And didn't Brighton get another Paraguayan striker, Enciso? Julian Enciso
Yep.
too. So
He's starting
watch
to make
out
his
for
way
him.
in.
19 years old, I think, at Brighton. And they got McAllister, Moises Caicedo. Enciso is another Paraguayan that might break that record that Almiron breaks for Santa Cruz too. And we called it, man. We called it way before. 85.5, remember.
I'll be honest, like Paraguay used to be a team to watch back when Roca Santa Cruz was around.
Yeah,
It used to
man.
be a team to watch, and
True.
it'd be great if Almiron and Ciso could be the ones that start to bring it back. But they're both in the Premier League, and they're both, well,
And
Almiron's not that young, but he is.
True.
He's young enough. He's young enough.
He'll be at Newcastle another 5 years. Just like Alan Saint Maxine, I think they'll like the Newcastle effect. The owners of Newcastle are so rich. For people to have a context, the PSG owner has 30 billion. The Newcastle owner has 300 to 400 billion, okay? So Newcastle will for sure be a powerhouse in football. And already, in terms of sporting decisions, the people on top of that club are making the right ones. The defense, like, I think is the best defense in the Prem. And then you have Bruno Guimarães signing. Teams like Real Madrid want a player like Bruno Guimarães, and he ain't leaving. He believes in this project. So whoever comes next will stay long term. Just that's so powerful. And I'm mentioning Bruno Guimarães. Bruno Guimarães, 100%, 100% is one of the best midfielders, not just in the Prem, in the world. He has to start for Brazil, pa, in front of Paquetá. Bruno Guimarães does everything, so complete. So I want to.
But what I love most about him, what I love most about Bruno, okay, is what he said after that Boxing Day match, after that Boxing Day kind of massive win, right, for them. It was kind of it was
3-0.
They had no chance. 3-0, exactly. What I love about Bruno is the fact that when he got that player of the match, man of the match award, he goes, no. This is for every one of my teammates because they deserve it more than me. And Bruno, that just tells you everything you need to know. So I don't think I'm gonna say it right now for all Newcastle fans. This ownership group will not make every decision right. Okay. But if they can even get close to 75% success that they got with Bruno, right? 75% of the success of Bruno, Newcastle could wind up being in the top 3 for years and years and years to come. Right. And they could maybe one day go for that title, but they're doing it, it seems, so far, the exact right way, building out that defense. But let's be honest. We did not expect Sven Botman, Dan Burn, Fabian Schär. We did not expect these players to all mesh as well as they have meshed. And I don't know if that's part and parcel of the players, the personnel that has just come together, or if that is Eddie Howe. And I got to give Eddie Howe the lion's share of the credit because, my goodness, to get them as cohesive as he's gotten them in as little time as he's had, it's very impressive.
I agree.
Very impressive.
And you said 75, man. I'll be honest. With this new management, I think they got almost 100, man. Even Garang Quall cost how much to Newcastle? Like 600,000 pounds? Like, I think they just make, like, in terms of risk, Isaac maybe. Alexander Isaac, okay? They spent 17 million on this striker. I think that's the big investment they've done that has still a big some doubts. But I believe in the
To be honest, I 100% forgot that he was even there. Wow.
That's the thing. So that can happen.
Right, that's happen. Right, that's exactly. They are going to make mistakes. Not all signings work out. The transition from Real Sociedad, sometimes the Premier League takes time. As we've seen Odegaard.
True.
Odegaard, he wasn't lights out right away. Not that he came, but he bounced around loan, and it took him a little while to hit the ground running, and now he is like integral to Arteta ball. So Isaac is one for the future.
I agree.
even though they spent a hefty penny. But you mentioned previously Chelsea investing in the infrastructure. If there is an infrastructure that I want to see improved,
Mm-hmm.
it is give me some boys from the north, right? Give me some Newcastle boys, some Toon boys like Elliot Anderson. Love seeing the Longstaff boys playing a part in this kind of revival of Newcastle.
Mm-hmm.
But give me some Newcastle Youth Academy
What's it
players. I
called?
would love to see them put some money. Yeah, I bet Elliot Anderson is one that I really, really do like, and I think you are going to see him play a larger role every season as Newcastle progresses.
I like
So
that. Good shout. Good shout. And what I want to say too is we're comparing and saying this is the beginning of not a dynasty, but of a big
not yet.
team with Newcastle.
Yeah.
And I remember when Man City get this kid from Valencia, David Silva. Everybody was
Yeah.
like, "What a good signing," and he stayed there long term, big long term. He stayed there like more than 10 years. I could see
Yeah.
that happening with the kid from Leon that went to Newcastle, Bruno Guimarães. I could see
Yeah.
him become a household name and become then a legend after 10 years too at Newcastle. So we can see that. We can see that happening. But tell us down below, what you think is going to happen in Newcastle? Who's going to come? And do you believe they'll get top four? Because that's what people want to know, man.
It's been 20 years. 20 years since
Man,
it's happened. So.
but this team, I'm not going to bet on top four. That's Tottenham, man. That's Tottenham. I'm not going to put Tottenham in the top four when you got Newcastle that's playing incredible football, defensively especially, and
Yeah.
Tottenham ain't doing that in first halves, man. The unfocusedness, man, they have in the first half of that game with Brentford was shocking. Losing
It's
2-0. And I
Yeah.
was thinking, even Tony would have missed the 2 pens. He'd score those 2 pens, man. That's what people were saying in the stats after that game. So I don't think Harry Kane's going to stay. I don't think Conte's going to stay. And things are not looking good long term for Tottenham, in my opinion. And even a player like Romero, he's a World Cup winner. I don't know if he'll come back very happy after this. And a player like Lloris, he's a vet. He's not going to stay long term. So,
well, it feels like there's two options here, right? You cut and run from Conte, and you find yourself somebody that wants part of the long-term fixture, right? Part of the long-term project, and Conte doesn't necessarily. He has not shown
he doesn't want
that he wants to be that guy, right? I agree with you in that. Yeah, all signs point to him getting the hell out of Dodge at some point, or, and I don't see the ownership doing this in any way, shape, or form. You say, Antonio Conte, here's a blank check, let's go.
Yeah,
right.
I think that's what's going to happen.
Bring me in Bastoni. Bring me in a midfielder because
Should
they
happen.
need a midfielder. They need an 8 like yesterday. Bring me in a striker, right? Maybe not. I mean, Richarlison getting back. Maybe
a striker,
we could do some things. But
Kane's going. Kane's going. I think people like at Tottenham have realized it. Like Kane hasn't won one trophy, man, in all his career, man, and he doesn't deserve it. He's the captain of England. Look at the embarrassment that this is. The captain of England, man. The captain of the ship. And after that penalty, he's got to prove himself big time in terms of his legacy. And he knows it. So I'd expect Harry Kane going to Bayern Munich. Bayern Munich type move. And Matisse tells there, I believe in this youngster, but Kane's to Bayern Munich.
Yeah, Kane being the having Matisse tell us his protege, that'd be pretty interesting. But cue the emergency loan signing or €4 million signing of Memphis Depay if that happens for Spurs, right?
No.
I honestly do believe, Spurs. They've obviously done enough to be in 4th place as it stands, but there's just such a lack of incisive just weapons, right? People that you look at and you go, beyond Son, who didn't play well on Boxing Day, beyond Kane, who actually did play well. And by the way, there has never been a Boxing Day fixture that Harry Kane has not scored in.
Oh, see? So win trophies, man. Just move. Just move, man. You know what I mean? And Man United would spend like 120 now on Kane. On Kane, man.
Wow.
I really think, man. And Man United need a striker. Like, I don't know, man. It just puts me crazy. It just puts me crazy.
Someone's got to do it.
Like, Tottenham, the lack of It's not decisions, man. Conte just needed the blank check last summer. He needed it, man.
Right.
And he got like a lot of cheap prices. A lot of cheap
Yeah,
players. Like Bissouma was even cheap. I thought he'd cost much more. It's 25 million.
yeah.
So
But let's be honest. If Harry Kane to finance that blank check, right?
mm-hmm.
Harry Kane probably did need to be sold, and Antonio Conte probably also said,
I
"I
agree.
don't want to I don't want to inherit a Spurs team without Harry Kane."
I think
So
that
it's
was the
kind of
case,
like
yeah.
a damned if you do, damned if you don't moment. If you want Conte to come in, and he's like, "Yeah." So I don't know if you can get 100, 120 for Harry Kane right now.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, this guy, you can deadpan him all you want. You can make fun of him all you want. You could say
United
whatever.
get
He's
him.
not as good, but he has been literally one of the most consistent strikers in Premier League history.
Oh yeah, and he plays
Right?
like they lost to
So-
Brentford, and he was one of the best players in that game. He scored. He scored. He was always trying to
They
provide
drew.
an assist. Sorry, yeah,
They drew.
2-2. I'm sorry.
Which was almost as bad as as bad as a loss. But
And they were
yeah.
narrowly getting it. And that's the thing too. It's always in the first half with Conte, and then in the second
Yeah.
they're trying to get back the game. Like, oh my days. But going
But-
back to Tottenham, like, yeah, Kane, just go. I really do.
It just seems like we get to this point with Spurs at all times, right? There's like a month of, hey, things are looking up. And then there's just this Jekyll and Hyde type of situation where things go from looking mildly ambitious, mildly exciting, to sour and stale, like really, really quickly. And I to be a Spurs fan at this moment in time, they have a wretched record against London derby teams, against teams in London. I mean, Brentford included. They have like one win in 16 London derbies recently. Okay, whether it's West Ham, whether it's Brentford, whether it's Chelsea, they are wretched when it comes to stamping their identity, their authority on all of London, and that is kind of a microcosm of the club in general, right? They just don't have that incisive, like, go for the kill type of mentality. And Harry Kane, I think, needs to leave to get it.
And in the future, man, I agree with all those points because yes, they needs to leave too for them to rebuild. And I'll say this though, like in the future, you have a feeling that Chelsea will be better, Man City will stay at the top, Liverpool will be better, United will be better, Newcastle will be better. I don't have that feeling for Tottenham. Kane's leaving, Conte's leaving, Lloris the vet's leaving. This won't be better. It won't. And a player like Son, you're lucky he extended to stay at Tottenham because he will be the biggest legend of this century of Tottenham because he will stay and Harry Kane won't. So I really want to say, man, Tottenham fans, get ready, man, because it's going to be a roller coaster going up and down, not top 4, from top 5 to top 10, in my opinion, in the next 3 years after Harry Kane leaves. I'm going to say that, man. I really believe
So are you rescinding your happier days preseason prediction that Antonio Conte and Spurs would win themselves a trophy of some sort this season?
I'll say this. Newcastle wins a trophy ahead of Tottenham, in my opinion. I'm going to say this, man. I am sold on Conte with Tottenham, and I think himself too, as I understand. The investment I need with Harry Kane staying, I won't get it. So I think everything's out. I think
all right.
La Signora, Juve, I think that too. I think Juve with Conte is gonna be considered highly after Allegri goes. Because yes, Allegri's gonna go long term too, man. Come on, people. Watch Juve.
Yeah.
It doesn't look good. And man, makes me sad, man. A player like Kulusevski, that yes, was one of the best signings this season. It's because he plays in a system with Son, Kane, and Conte at the helm. So, not looking good. Not looking good.
Levy, Levy, surprise us.
No.
Surprise us with something. Come on, get it done. Let's go.
Because
I want to see Spurs.
Arsenal strong now. That wasn't in the past. And you have Newcastle that's going to be strong too. Like Tottenham has never had this level of competition, man. And then you have Aston Villa willing to pay. Wolves willing to pay. Brighton making smart decisions.
Okay.
Like West Ham willing to pay, kind of too.
but say Spurs does something like they bring in an 8, like say Yuri Tielemans, and then they bring in Bastoni.
Okay.
Would that intrigue you? Would that make things any interest? And they bring in Mohamed Kudus, one of the World Cup stars.
I like that. I
right?
like those transfers. And again, if that happens, I'm happy because they're moving forwards. But after losses of Conte, Kane, and Lloris, I
Yeah.
think the rebuild and it's not going to be 2 steps back. I think it's going to be 3 to
Alright.
4 with the level of investment of the other teams. But tell us your
Yeah.
opinion for Tottenham's future. Do you
Man.
believe they'll be a top 4 team in the next 3 years, 4 years, 5 years? Because I'm not going to put my chips on that. But again, Udogi left back signing, really good.
Yeah.
Want to say
Yeah.
that. Want to say that because
Well,
not a lot of young left backs.
Before we forget to say it, we have to give more love to Fulham and Marco Silva, right? I have two big observations when it comes to Fulham right now.
Okay.
And they're more extensions of the World Cup. Three, and I'll try and be really, really quick with them and brief with them. One, why did João Palhinha not play more for Portugal? Him
Fucked.
in that first half of that Boxing Day fixture, lights out, phenomenal.
Again, why did
Why-
he go to Fulham? Like, what the
I
hell?
don't-
Like, just go to Man United. No, they got Casemiro, man. But just go to... he's a top CDM in the world. Like,
It's
it's
amazing.
shocking. Mark Silva
It's amazing.
must have, like, enchanted this man on the phone call to João Palhinha.
You know,
But it's
like a love potion or something. Because wow.
But what a great observation, man. Tell me the other. That's unbelievable. I love it.
Well, that's one. Number two, Alexander Mitrovic. I'm pretty sure that in all of Serbian media, or every apologist for Serbia out there during the World Cup, all said Vlahovic not fit, Mitrovic not fit, the rest of the team not fit. All of that is bull crap, right? Bull donkey, whatever you want to call it. All of it is crap. They had the largest collection of Serbian talent, the best collection of Serbian talent, in my opinion, ever. And all they did was, I think it was a managerial issue and a lack of belief. Because Alexander Mitrovic, who was not necessarily projected to play for Fulham in the Boxing Day, what does he provide? A goal, an assist. This man was ready to go. If he can do it in the Premier League, he can do it in the World Cup. But what did Serbia wind up doing? 1 point. 1 point. Serbia needs to trust their players more, and they need to find the right managerial staff to get the best out of that team, because they don't play like a team, right? They just don't right now. So that's number two. Number three for me, at 35 years old, Tim Ream scores his first Premier League goal. And I'm going to say it right now, and maybe a little bit of American bias is showing. He has been one of the best, especially when it comes to his positioning, one of the best center backs in the Premier League so far this season.
Saliba, man. Come on.
It's unreal. And I don't understand how this White Knight coming in, on horseback late in the game for our World Cup squad. If we did not have Tim Ream at the World Cup, we would have been 3 and out. We would have been gone 3 and out, right? With no Tim Ream.
And
Tim
that
Ream,
midfield.
I know, and somehow Tim Ream coming in at 35 years old, having his best season on record, right? Fulham is now a right above mid-table team. They have 6 wins, 6 losses. This team looks good on paper, and they look like they're building into their role instead of trending downwards. True. And a lot of that has to do with Tim Ream and his 35-year-old renaissance. And I am so here for it, because this guy has been a mainstay for years and years, being played out of position, jumping around from league to league, Premier League to Championship to Premier League. And I hope that Tim Ream just continues this progress, because my goodness, he scored his first Premier League goal on Boxing Day, right? In Fulham's 3-0 win. And it's just great to see. So there's my three Fulham observations that come on. We all thought Fulham was going to get relegated this season.
No, great.
Right?
No. Pedro said number 7.
True.
Finish 7th with him. That Mark Silva
true.
bias, man. No, but
Yeah.
and João Palhinha though. But yes, they're getting their decisions right. João Palhinha, Andrés Pereira was a good signing. Tim Ream,
Yeah.
I think Mark Silva has done a great job at this Fulham team. And they will remain like a top 14 team in the Premier League for years to come. And it's nice to see Fulham. They got history, man. I remember Fulham, those good old days, man, that Fulham had really good. I think Dempsey. Didn't Dempsey play Fulham? So
Brian McBride.
Brian
McBride. Dempsey. Those were it used to be Full America. Full America.
I didn't know that. Like what?
Yeah.
Like what? Now Chelsea's becoming Chelsea America. Chelsea. I don't know what to say.
Yeah, well, Chelsea America. I don't know. Yeah, or Leeds America. No, but used to have Fulham used to also have Carlos Bocanegra.
True.
A guy they used to have Luis Boamorte.
Boamorte, yes, Luis Boamorte.
Yeah.
Hey, what a player, no?
they had at least some fun teams. They've been up and down. So hopefully they're here to stay for years to come.
And my last shout here in this 85.5 pod. Thank you for listening until now. If you're listening, and please like this video so we know that you enjoy these podcasts. And my last shout is Benfica are going bold by getting this youngster, Andreas Stroldrup.
There you go.
Valuable player in the Danish league, okay? Technically one of the best under 18 talents in the world right now for 10 million plus 5 in variables. What a deal, okay? I think he's got more than 10 goal involvements in the league too. This player is the future of Norway next to Erling Haaland. I absolutely love it. And with Roger Schmidt, look what happened at Enzo too. I know Enzo was a baller, but Andreas is a baller too. So let's wait
and Schelderup is part of the FC Nordsjælland machine. So if you know Mohamed Kudus, if you know Kamaldeen Sulemana, these are guys that were brought in by the FC Nordsjælland machine. They play some of the youngest starting 11s on the planet, and they're just a joy to watch. And Schelderup has been one of the best players there. But to be honest, that's not the most intriguing signing, and I am very biased here. That is not the most intriguing signing that likely Benfica or Benfica B is going to make in the coming days. If Benfica, not you guys, but if Benfica gets Marcus Zambrano, 17-year-old Philadelphia Union striker who announced his departure from the Union to pursue European interests, I'm so sad he will not be putting on a Union shirt, but he is the real deal. He is likely the best academy striker in all of Major League Soccer.
Woo!
He's American/Ecuadorian. He was born in Ecuador, but very much, here. He was only at the Union for 2 years. I thought he was going to sign a homegrown contract and play for us because we need strikers in the future. But if Benfica gets him, I can't think of a better place for him to develop. I honestly believe that he could debut before Schelderup does.
What?
If they sign him, he's that promising. I promise you.
No, but he'll go first team immediately.
Yeah, he might. You're right.
He will.
You're right.
He will, man. I can tell you
I don't think he'd go there. I don't think he'd go there if he didn't have promise. That
I think you went too bold, man. I think you went too bold there.
We'll see. But listen, the Union are losing. They're losing Zambrano, which means that they'll likely lose his equally talented brother. But they're also losing one of their top prospects in Bajang Darboe, is what it seems like. It sounds like Bajang Darboe, who's 15 or 16, Cam, phenomenal, could be a striker. He's also one of the most promising coming up right now in any academy across Major League Soccer. We don't know where he's going to go, but he's also going to Europe. So I'm sad that the Union are losing so many good talents. But if Marcus Zambrano goes to Benfica, he will make his way into that first team at some point soon. I can give you that. Yeah.
I believe in that. I love to see that, man. And you got Enrique Araújo right there competing with the likes of him. And I believe in Enrique Araújo big time. Jorgen too. I think he's a good striker too. So people, tell us down below, what did we miss in 85.5 transfer talk, Premier League talk? Tell us down below in the comment section. And again, if you're listening until now, please don't forget to like this video.
I guess Yeah, no, I mean, you want to just give a quick update on the, when we're going to announce the winners for the giveaway.
And then giveaway
That'll be,
winners will be announced next Monday. Okay, people? Next Monday, then we will say who won the 3 white hoodies, people, in the video. They will be. So, again, and follow our Instagram because we might say something on our Instagram. So,
yeah.
people, tell us down below. Again, topics we have missed. And again, thank you, community, for going bold until now.